And we are back, everybody. Sorry about that. We just had a minor internet issue on our restreaming side, but it all seems to be good now. So we're just gonna take it from the top one more time. So welcome back to Speedrun Ragnarok 2020. I'm your host Pidge01, and we have an exciting Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide randomizer race coming up for you between Boo and C1assybadger. And our commentators for today are Ravlin and Jackamus. Take it away, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. My name is Ravlin, here to bring you some wonderful commentary along with my pal Jackamus Wedge. How are you doing this afternoon, Jack?
I'm doing just as fine as I was a few minutes ago, but it's glad that we're back up and going here. So yeah, we're back. We restarted the race there. It's not like we really got anywhere. So you can see right now that we've got both Classy and Boo kind of going in slightly different directions here. Usually early on, you don't start out with a whole lot of anything, so you can see them trying to loot some chests and find some rudimentary equipment and whatnot to get on their feet and get going here.
Exactly. Most runners, when they're playing this game, they do end up spending maybe the first 10 or so minutes looking for that equipment. We'll see players going to Albrook, Narsh, South Figaro, and then depending on what characters they have, they might check a few other things. They are looking for treasure chests, they are looking for weapons, gold, espers, whatever they can find in order to get their way through this seed. A couple of things that I did notice. Boo found a Thunder Shield, also found Thunder and Pearl Rods available for sale. And Classy has found an XP egg. All of those are very, very valuable items for our runners to find this early.
Yep, those rods and shields can be sacrificed in battle to do massive elemental damage. The experience egg doubles experience for your character. Also, a Genji glove has been found for C1assybadger that lets you dual wield, which is pretty potent in this game if you have the right weapons.
Absolutely. And just to remind everyone what the goal of this particular race is, our runners are looking to get 7 characters and 10 espers. That will open up the ability to go to Kefka's Tower and go fight the evil clown himself. Now, each character that they find is going to open up a certain number of checks or places that they can go to try to find the next character and the next esper. Checks can also have valuable items in them. So our runners have started out with 8 available checks to them right now. Sabin has the boss at Barren Falls, the Imperial Camp, Mount Colts, the Phantom Train, and the Collapsing House, while his brother Edgar, also known as Yoshi right now, I believe, has the Throne at Figaro Castle, the Tentacles Fight, and the Ancient Castle.
That is correct, Rav. There's also a couple checks that aren't gated by characters. Auction House, there's a guy in Tizen that can sell an item. The Tritalk battle at World of Ruin Narsh, and the war against Kefka in World of Balanced Narsh. You don't need characters for those, you can do them anytime. Looks like a couple more fire rods being picked up in South Figaro here. Boo finds a stunner, which is a high battle power weapon that can proc stop, quite nice.
That is, in fact, one of my favorite items to find, just in case I find the boss Poltergeist, also known as the Spicy or Fire Chicken in our community, because he is vulnerable to stop. So while our racers are doing this, I would like to remind everyone that we are raising money for a very valuable charity here. Pidge, would you like to tell us about the charity that we're raising money for?
I would love to. So we're raising money for Take This. Take This is an amazing charity. They're a mental health nonprofit, and their main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. If you'd like to support the charity, then type !donate in the chat, and you'll see our donation link, and you can support Take This in all their wonderful endeavors.
All right. Thank you so much, Pidge. I appreciate that. So
well, their passive converged here after looting Narsh for Classy Badger and doing some quick looting / shopping in Albrook for Boo. They're both looting the basement of South Figaro. After this, I've seen enough nice stuff that I wouldn't be surprised if they started going out to do some checks, fight some bosses, look for more humans and espers.
absolutely. A couple other things that we should note about this randomizer. So the way that we have the progression set up is enemies will get stronger every character and esper that you gain. So for every piece of progression you get, your enemies will gain 2 levels. So right now, our enemies are level 4, and there is a bit of distortion there. So I believe it's plus or minus 0, 1, or 2 levels along with that. So you can't, exactly predict what levels your enemies are going to be, but the enemies get stronger as you get more stuff.
Exactly. Well, they're both going to pick up some easy chests here inside the Returner's hideout. There's 2 nice things in that back room. Red Cap, which is just about the best helmet you can have, and a gem box, which enables X magic whenever we get some spells later on. Hooray!
Yeah, they've also found Atma weapons, Excaliburs, breakable rods. This seed is being very kind and generous to our runners. Also, just with the number of available checks to them, I would expect at least one of our runners to go to the Collapsing House in the World of Ruin. What would be your first stop, given the checks available to you?
Well, truthfully, if I had this start, I would have gone to Figaro Castle, World of Balance, right at the start, because you can check the throne, get a few chests, and check a couple stores.
Not only can you check a couple of stores, but because you have the king, you will get a 50% discount.
Yep, it's fantastic. Edgar start's pretty nice for that.
All right,
well,
looks like
is going to go to the Imperial Camp here.
Imperial Camp, usually found during Sabin scenario, when you get 3 different parties to choose from and you pick Sabin. This has a few treasure chests that are available to you. It has a couple of fights and the possibility of a character, a rare item, or an esper. What are you hoping for at your first check here?
Well, if it's me, I'd be hoping for one of the God tier characters. Ooh, there's a Lumina's for sale. Who has just found. I think at least one of those is going to be picked up there. Yup. Lumina's for sale in looks like Nikea, World of Balance. The Lumina is the best weapon in the game, bar none.
It's also the best defensive item in the game. Basically, bar none.
Yep, it's great.
It is slightly more available in the randomizer than it ever was in the vanilla game, where you had to get the Ragnarok sword and then bet it at the Colosseum and then win the battle. Here you can go shopping for it.
Well, forced fight number 1 here in the camp. Garms and Commandos. So, not too threatening here. Might not be the quickest battle, as they do have pretty high physical defense, and, well, right now, that's all that Classy has for offense, is straight up attack, 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 unless wants to fuss about with dance with Goose.
That is true. So, things that we should also mention that are randomized here. So, as you can see, battles are randomized, so if you are expecting to see soldiers in the Imperial camp, you might not see that exact enemy. You can also see that our characters have different commands than they have in vanilla. Those have been randomized. They also have a few options available in the randomization that were not available in the vanilla game. We have Shock from General Leo, Health from Bannon. I believe you can also get X Magic and Jump available to characters just as a command that they can do.
Very true, and Classy's found Sellies inside the Imperial camp. Sellies is a pretty awesome character in the rando, typically. Sellies has 5 more checks. A couple of them are pretty straightforward. And the way that it's set up right now, I believe we haven't really messed with characters' innate equipment, so she's guaranteed to be able to wear pretty much all the best stuff in the game.
and her stats are quite good. She is someone that I am always happy to see on my team. This also means Celis does open the Opera check, as well as her cell in South Figaro and the Magitech factory. The Opera check is always one of my favorite to see when I am watching racers go.
Well, gotta fight a couple more battles here in order to finish up the Imperial Camp sequence. Of note, if the Imperial Camp doesn't have a character, you only need to fight the one battle and you'll get the Esper item right away. You don't have to do these follow-up battles. So sometimes it's not necessarily the place you want to find your character, as there's a couple more fights there. I believe you could run away from some of these enemies if you want to, but this early on, it's usually good to take a couple battles and gain some levels under your belt. Levels are the big stat in this game. If you don't have levels, you're not going to be good. It doesn't really matter what your other stats are.
Absolutely.
See, just picked up some Thunder Rods in Albrook, so I think Boo's probably done the early game equipment hunt at this point, I would hope. And we'll probably start going around looking for things to find.
Yep, between the Illumina, he has an Excalibur on his Sabin, and he's got 6 Thunder Rods. I think he's going to be able to make his way through most of these checks without too much trouble. But now that I've said that, I do realize I have inflicted the commentator's curse. So as you're going through the game, one of the things that I always like to have in the back of my mind is strategies for dealing enough damage to get through the final Kefka. What sorts of strategies do you think our runners might be going for to deal with those final bosses that they're going to start setting up now?
Well, with Illumina's for sale, Boo's basically set for at least one character. Once Boo eventually finds Celes, I wouldn't be surprised if he went up and picked at least one more Illumina up. Like, Illumina by itself, you can just swing around with that attack command at level 40, and you're going to be doing anywhere from like 6,000 to 16,000 a hit. Otherwise, though, we haven't really seen any Espers yet, so if we get some nice beefy level 3 spells, those would be quite nice as well. Lots of breakable rods, so offense isn't going to be too much of an issue for this seed, I don't think, so far.
I think the one thing I might be concerned about is some of our defensive options. I think the best gear we've seen so far is that red cap, which is nice, but not something I want to rely on.
They say the best defense is a good offense, though.
This is true, and it looks like Classy has found some Super Balls available for sale in the airship store. Those Super Balls are an item that will do a random multiple of 256 damage to a random number of enemies on the screen.
Yeah, it actually picks 4 targets, and does a random number between 256 and 2048, but it can pick the same target twice, or even all 4 times. It's a very, very random item, but it does damage independent of level, which can have its uses early on in the seed at the very least.
Absolutely. It has the possibility to one-shot certain bosses at early levels, and that can get you through a sticky check. One of my favorite aspects of this randomizer, which is actually being shown off really well here, is that our runners are going in completely different directions. Boo went immediately to the collapsing house. Classy has gone to the Imperial Camp, and it looks like he's now heading to Figaro Castle.
Definitely.
Both of these routes could be entirely valid. There is not necessarily going to be one route that is going to be correct, and another route that is going to just be a rabbit hole. We could have our runners take 2 completely divergent routes throughout this entire seed and still come up with roughly the same time.
Absolutely could. There's the all-important dried meat. If you pick up Gao, dried meat's a required item for one of Gao's checks. Always nice to find that early. And yeah, like this early on, there's a lot of options. It's basically impossible to say what the quote-unquote correct path is going to be. Classy has found Sellies, though, so Classy with a bit of an edge here early on by having gotten a couple of checks done here.
Absolutely, and it looks like Boo is heading towards Figaro Castle in the World of Ruin, going to check out the boss at the Tentacle spot, and I bet he'll also do the Ancient Castle at the same time.
Well, Terra's on the South Figaro throne, so Classy's found, I would say, 2 of what are usually considered the top 3 characters already. And we've got Go-Go inside South Figaro Cave, World of Ruin. So lots of characters available from the start with just an Edgar Sabin start. So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see them continue to go in all kinds of crazy different directions here.
Absolutely.
Terra, though, after getting Terra, the first place Classy is going to be the Sealed Gate with all those delicious treasure chests.
Absolutely. That would be where I would head first. Terra also opens up 5 checks. Our runners have found the characters that have opened up the most checks available to them, so the number of choices they have right now is, I believe, the highest it can be in this randomizer.
Only would be higher if they had Shadow instead of Edgar. Shadow, Sabin, Sellies, and Terra are the 5 checks characters. I guess Cyan is a 5-check character as well. Looks like Classy's going to fight the boss in the Welk spot. Well, hold A and wait for about a minute and a half here is what we've got. We've got the Piranhas and Rizipus.
Yes, so the amount of time that you
want to make sure Sellies isn't hitting them with a heal rod, though.
Now, in the vanilla version of the game, you do need to wait 60 seconds before the boss Rizopus will appear. But here, that amount of time is randomized, so we don't just have our runners sitting on a boss screen doing nothing. So, as you can see, it is much quicker. So while Classy is fighting a piranha battle, BooTheRunner has found Kefka in the tentacles spot. This is the Kefka at Narsh Kefka, not Final Kefka. That would be incredibly mean. And
for a couple level 3 characters, yeah, that's probably insurmountable right now.
Technically, no.
Well, technically, no.
If one of the characters had Sword Tech, you could glitch out and do it that way, but it would take about 28 minutes.
It'd probably take even longer at level 3. You'd be swinging for single digits.
I did it at level 3 once, and I was swinging for 24.
Ooh, classy.
Right?
Well, Go-Go recruited for Boo, and we've got an Esper pickup at last for Classy. Magicite Stray has a level 2 spell on it, so solid for right now.
Yep, Ice 2. It's a spell that I'm always okay with seeing. I believe the level 2 spells have between 50 and 52 magic power, which is fine. It's not exciting, but it will get the job done.
Well, Boo's now hitting up Figaro Castle, so, well, there's Terra for Boo.
And it looks like Terra's Morph ability has been replaced with Control. Frankly, not an ability I've gotten a lot of mileage out of, but maybe our runners can show me something new, because they do every time I watch them race.
Well, Control's really only good against random enemies. It's not going to work against most bosses or boss minions. But if you can control an enemy with a death move that's vulnerable to death, that's probably the best use of Control.
I believe the best target for that would be the Katana Soul monster in a box, which would then get you an offering.
Quite true. Classy's heading to go do the collapsing house in Tizen. Got Boo doing some more fundraising at one of the shops here right now.
Yeah, he found those Super Balls, and I believe he found them at half price, so he's picking up a few of those as well. Just a good way to get some guaranteed damage, even if that guarantee is random.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that, just to have a few more options early on. Just do remember that Boo's a little bit behind on levels compared to Classy, who's fought more battles thus far.
This is true. And so Boo has picked up Go-Go. Go-Go seems to be a character that people have some split opinions on. I think he can be useful if you get the right abilities on him. What is your opinion of Go-Go as a character here?
Well, Go-Go as a character, you can give him any ability you want. Go-Go is not as valuable as he used to be. We have settings now where characters join at an average level rather than an initial level. When characters join at an initial level, you're often incentivized to keep your earlier characters. So if you had an early Go-Go, that'd be great, because you might find a character with a great skill set later, but don't want to level them up? Well, just give the skill set to Go-Go, and there you go.
That is true. And I have been keeping a half an eye on chat. One thing that this randomizer does start you out with is 3 Moogle Charms that are equipable by anyone, which do turn off the random battles. But if you feel the need to take a random battle or 2 to grind up some experience, just take that Moogle Charm off and walk around, and the monsters will find you. So Boo is going to give us a peek into this ancient castle. This is a place where you are going to get a check for free. There is no required battle. But there is a dragon down here.
Well,
do you
Boo's
think...
robbing a tent, so I think there's a chance Boo at least sees what the dragon is and tries to take it out, perhaps?
So this dragon, if he is able to take it out, will give him 50 magic points towards learning spells, a bunch of XP, whatever the vanilla drop for that dragon is. So if it is, say, the blue dragon, you'll get a scimitar. And then you will also get a rare item check at the end of the battle as well. So dragons are quite valuable if you can take them out.
Definitely are. Well, nothing too great for loot here in the ancient castle. Elixirs are always nice, though. Elixirs are a nice get-out-of-trouble-free card. Looks like Gao's at the bottom of the ancient castle. So that's 4 characters available from the starting 2. 5 characters for Boo, and soon to be 5 for Classy, who's not too far behind on the Edgar path. Yep. Running into Go-Go now.
So Boo replaced...
Our runners are going to have a ton of options before too long. It's going to be an Esper hunt rather than a character hunt this go-around, for sure.
It certainly seems that way, and I am frankly, with all of the choices available to our runners, I am surprised that they have managed to go the same path thus far. I will say Boo did replace his Terra, who we, just spent so much time extolling her virtues, with a Gao. Gao is another one of those characters that is rather controversial in this randomizer. It appears that Gao had health, and I have now forgotten his other ability. But because Gao has both Rage and Leap in the vanilla, if you randomize the commands, Gao gets two shots at a unique command instead of just 1.
Very true. Well, Boo's finished up Ancient Castle. The cave to the Ancient Castle had a couple nice relics. Highlight being a hero ring, which is best damage boosting accessory available.
The hero ring is quite literally a pair of earrings and an atlas armlet stapled together. So it will increase both of your magic and your physical damage. So Boo now has, quite literally, the world is his oyster at this point. I would expect him to go back to the world of balance, possibly check out that gate to the sealed cave, which I don't think Classy checked out yet either.
Nope, Classy hasn't been there yet, so we're going to get our first look at the treasure trove in the Imperial base here on Boo's side.
This is one of the most lucrative treasure spots in the game. as if you have played the vanilla game, you can probably see that our treasure chests are not as they are in vanilla. What we have on for a setting is what we call shuffle plus 20%. So all of the treasure chests are shuffled among themselves, and then 20% of them are replaced with completely random treasures. So in that 20%, you could get 20% extra tonics, or you could get 20% of things like elemental shields, Illuminas, Ragnaroks, and cat hoods.
Those are all nice things.
But random is going to random at you, and you don't know what you're going to find.
Exactly. Well, the tentacle spot is cleared for Classy. Gogo has been recruited. And looks like Classy is just thinking about how to do characters here. Classy also electing to replace Terra. So, both of our runners not really fond of that control skill. Their fantastic stats and natural equipment aside, they want to play more with special skills this go around.
And it appears that Classy has made one of the mistakes that I have made several times recently, which is, hey, I'm going to switch out my party, and there goes my Moogle Charm.
Yeah, you always got to watch out for that. I'm of the opinion that since you start with 3 Moogle Charms, it's not bad to just give them to different characters as you go. That way you run less risk of making that mistake.
Absolutely, and the reason why we do give you 3 Moogle Charms at the beginning is because in Kefka's Tower, you split up into 3 parties, and we really just didn't want it to be a matter of menuing every time you switch a party for that. That seemed not fun, so we changed it, because we can.
Change is good.
Truly, truly is.
Alrighty, well, we're at the end of the sealed gate cave, and there's a cyan for Boo.
Now,
Speaking of character options.
Once again, Cyan opens up another 5 possible checks. He opens up Doma Castle in the World of Balance, where you would fight the leader in Vanilla. He opens up Mount Zozo in the World of Ruin, and he opens up Cyan's Dream, which, if you complete it, has 3 checks throughout that sequence.
Cyan's Dream also unlocks all the sword tech skills for whoever has the sword tech command.
For whoever has it, if anyone has it, which is the true question here.
That is also a thing, yes.
So far, I believe we've seen 1 Esper, and that has been Classy Badger's Esper, which is giving him access to Ice 2, which is not nothing, but it's not exciting, to be fair.
To be fair, well, we've got Boo back in back in Ikea, gonna raise some money and buy more Illuminas, because why not?
Absolutely. I'll be interested to see if Boo is going to sell that gem box and go sort of all in on some physical strats here, or if he's going to save that gem box in the hope that there was eventually going to be some good magic in this seed.
If it was me, I'd be punting that gem box right now, because I've got 3 characters that guaranteed are Illumina users. But to each their own, of course.
Yep.
We're not the ones playing. We're just the ones talking.
And, there is a reason for that. Sometimes I am known to go a little off the deep end when I'm racing.
Precisely.
I can do less harm talking than I can do racing.
Well, Ancient Castle for Classy, so Classy's going to pick up a Gao momentarily. Will Classy try to fight the Dagran, I wonder?
Well, sometimes the dragon doesn't give you a choice.
It's a pretty narrow room, but you can always leave the room and reset its position if you want. Yeah, Gao's got tools and health, so tools can be pretty potent if you find the right tools. We know that at least Flash, Drill, and Chainsaw were available in shops so far.
Yep. Drill is, I believe, the most commonly used tool in this randomizer. It does the most consistent damage. It just it ignores defense and has a good attack power. So one of the themes that comes through in this game is things that ignore defense tend to do disproportionate amounts of damage.
Absolutely. Another great tool that maybe we'll see later on. Everyone likes that air anchor for its guaranteed instant kills.
Ooh,
Nice
Boo
super
has
ball roll from Gao against Goddess here for Boo, and another pretty good one there from Gogo as well.
Boo has found Goddess. Goddess is one of these statues in Kefka's Tower and is never a boss that you can take lightly, no matter how high a level you are or what damage you have. She can just ruin your day.
But luckily for Boo, Boo had a Thunder Shield, which kept Sabin alive, and 2 very high rolls from Super Balls are basically going to get the job done entirely on their own. So with that, the commander is defeated at Doma, and rewarded with an Esper.
Which is the thing we are looking for right now. So let's see what that Esper has. Quick,
well, it's
Fire
quick,
2.
Fire 2. Fire 2, probably not too interesting for Boo, who knows where all the elemental rods are, but Quick's a very potent spell in a pinch.
It is, and he does still have that gem box, so there is the possibility that he could set up for gem box quick strats later, which would allow something like 5 offensive spell casts from one character, which can certainly do quite a bit of work since those 5 casts are uninterrupted.
Yeah, it definitely can. Just a matter of, are we going to find any nice spells? So far, we've only seen a few level 2s from the Espers that we've picked up.
Yeah, I definitely would not invest in the magic build for just level 2 spells, personally. Right, looks like Boo is going to give us a peek at the Barren Falls. This is another fairly quick check. You just need to fight a boss here, and you will get some reward at the end of the falls here.
Why not jump? I mean, it looks safe, right? So very safe. I think it's going to be going to the Zone Eater. Well, we've got the first Atma weapon here at Barren Falls, so not too much of an issue here.
Atma weapon is certainly less terrifying than his big brother Atma.
Indeed.
Atma weapon can cast spells such as Flare, which would probably eliminate a character right now. It also has Quake, which might be a wipe here.
Won't be a wipe, but it is going to sting. Gogo hanging on by a thread there. And Boo's just going to go for the kill right now. Mimicking a Fire Rod, not even bothering to heal up here. And it's going to work, though. Atma is defeated as Classy enters the Maw of the Zone Eater.
Interesting note about the ability to mimic breakable items such as rods or shields. It will not consume another one of those rods or shields, but it will only be half power. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but, you know, still, free damage is free damage. I'm going to take it.
Yeah. Nice move from Classy there. Basically walked right through the Chancellor on the bridge and able to keep going. We come to the dreaded ceiling trap room. Many a runner has been smushed here. Classy play it very, very safe, though.
I hope so, because he did not save, and that makes me nervous.
Well, Alexander has Ultima on it for Boo.
That it does, and with Ultima and Quick, and enough MP or a gem box and an economizer, you can do, I believe the phrase is ridiculous amounts of damage in single turns.
Yeah, this is one of the more high offense seeds that we've seen in quite some time.
Look, seeds that I roll are feast or famine. They're either amazing or horrible. There is no middle ground. Does not exist.
We haven't seen anything too outrageous defensive-wise other than the ridiculous evasion on the Illuminas. But if you have enough offense, I mean, you can take enemies out before they're able to damage your party. You don't really need defense, right?
That's true. Looks like Boo is finding his own version of the piranhas. And let's see where Classy is headed. Classy is headed to the sealed gate. Since our runners are checking things that we have already seen here as the audience, Paige, do you have any donations that you'd like to read off?
Yeah, we have a couple. I'd like to thank Snyder EC3 for donating $5, and there's no comment, but thank you very much for the donation. And Rhea Skies donates $20, and she put it towards a naming incentive for Star Ocean, and she says, "Thanks for accepting the run. I decided I want to come on the adventure too." And reminder everybody that we are running Speedrun Ragnarok 2020 in support of Take This, and Take This is an amazing organization. They reach out to gaming companies to help them promote healthier and more productive work environments and ensure that they have methods in place for helping employees who suffer from mental illness, among lots of other incentives. And just amazing initiatives that they always have going on year-round. And for more information about Take This, please visit takethis.org. They do incredible work for mental health, especially within the gaming community, and a reminder that all of your donations and subs and bits are going to support Take This during SRR 2020.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for that that plug there, Pidge. And we are back. Boo has gotten through his fishy fight there, and is now going to head off somewhere else. Hopefully show us something new to see what we can find going forward. Ooh, I didn't think I noticed this when Boo went through the sealed cave, but Classy just found a dragon horn. Dragon horn is one of those accessories that I like to see because it lets me set up for Dragoon strats. Are you a fan of those Dragoon strats there, Jack?
If they're available, yeah, they can be pretty strong. The main thing, though, is you're going to want either that Pearl Lance or an Aura Lance, and you'll either need someone with a jump command or someone who can wear Dragoon boots. Or a Palador Esper works, too.
That is true. So Dragoon boots allow you to use the jump command, which with a regular weapon does 1.5 times the normal damage. With a spear, though, it does 2 times the normal damage. And the Dragon Horn allows you to jump and hit multiple times with a single command.
It's an offering light, basically.
Exactly. If you get some of the right gear, that is a very potent offensive option that is available to our runners.
Our runners have millions of offensive options this seed, so that's just another, maybe if I find a nice lance or a jumper, I could do that.
Absolutely.
When you're busting out Illuminas and Ultima spells, you're probably set.
You are, but I do think that our runners might actually end up shying away from relying entirely on the Ultima spell, because that is a very slow spell to cast. It takes quite a while, and ooh, we have found a Magimaster here at Mount Colts.
And Boo's electing to just go on the offensive rather than let his wall ring do the trick here. I guess if you have Super Balls, you can get away with it, but, well, some nice rolls to start out here at the very least.
Yep. One thing that we have done here is we have turned off Magimaster's death counter of casting Ultima. Because you cannot plan for where the Magimaster is, it didn't seem fair that things might be walled behind that that Magimaster's Ultima spell. So Boo gets through with those non-elemental damage, and whew, that was fast.
We're rolling big money on the Super Balls today, and there's a realm, yet another character available from the first two. Classy, a little bit Poison there is gonna get healed up on the airship.
Yep. And Boo is grabbing that realm very quickly. I would expect him to be setting up that realm as a magic user.
Well, realm does have a high innate magic power, which is always pretty nice. When no Ultima's available, I mean, why not, right?
Yep, she does have the highest natural starting magic power in the entire game. I don't believe any of our Espers have the magic power boosting ability, but that is possible if they found an Esper that they could bump that up even a little bit more. But that's a lot and not truly necessary when you have Realm.
No, in general, levels are going to do more for you than boosting your magic power stats. So just level up. Just level up. That's all you need to do.
Absolutely.
Clancy's going to be heading over to the Opera House.
Yep. The Opera is one of my favorite checks, mostly just because I like the opera. You will notice that most of the cutscenes in Worlds Collide have been either cut out entirely or trimmed, so we are not going to see any singing, but we will see some fights in the rafters and then a boss fight.
And who's going to continue shopping has found a shop that sells both red jackets and snow mufflers, two of the premium defensive body pieces in the game.
That snow muffler is one of my favorite body armors in the game. It does give you maximized physical defense, and also absorbs ice, I believe.
That is correct.
All right, and it looks like our fights in the rafters are power demons and X-rays. Those are going to be a little bit ruder than the rats would be.
Yeah, but they're undead. If you bought a stack of Revivifies, just start throwing those everywhere. They're also weak to fire. If you got fire, cast fire. Or, just swing away with some weapons there. I mean, Edgar's got an Excalibur and a Fire Knuckle, so doing both holy and fire damage respectively with each hit. So, gonna make quick work of those undead. This is a much nastier battle here. The Madame and two veterans. The veterans are gonna spam death moves, and the Madame is probably the nastiest enemy caster monster in the entire game, busting out high damage Pearl and Flare spells.
That is the danger of these randomized battles. For each formation, so there in this spot there is the 3-rat formation and the 6-rat formation. Those have been replaced independently, so it is possible to only hit one of the possible formations here. It is possible to hit both of them, and Classy just got a little unlucky there.
And depending on what the enemy formation is, you can escape from battles. So this is a runnable fight if things start to go south for Classy. We've got two up on Esper Mountain, and it's going to be an Ifrit and Shiva battle. This is probably going to be over pretty quickly. Those Pearl procs not going to help here, though. They're immune to every element except the one that they're weak to. So ice damage or non-elemental would be the way to go here. So let's have some more Super Balls.
That meteor spell for Classy nearly took him out. Looks like he's going to be taking a reset here. Be interested to see if he chooses whether to dive back in here now that he knows what he's facing, or if he's just going to go check somewhere else.
Ifrit and Shiva down for Boo.
Let's see what treasure awaits him at the end of this Esper Mountain. And Classy is noping out of that opera. Don't blame him at all. I would have noped out there myself.
Personally, I would have probably tried again, but I'd just be running from the monsters trying to get to the boss. But I completely respect going for easier options. I mean, heading to South Figaro with Sellies in tow is a completely free check, so why not? Boo's picked up the Bahamut Esper from defeating Ifrit and Shiva. And Boo is going on a bit of a treasure hunt, it looks like.
Let's see, Classy picks up Carbuncle. Let's see what Carbuncle gives us, and that gives us our second instance of Ultima and an Ice 3 spell.
Well, magic is certainly a potent command now.
That Esper also gives Speed +2, which is not the most valuable stat boost that you could find on an Esper, but it's certainly something that I would not say no to. So for every level that a character gains when that Esper is equipped, their speed stat will go up by 2, which means that their ATB bar will fill faster. It's not as great an impact as I would, strictly speaking, like.
Speed is an odd stat in this game, in that since everything's happening in real time, you really need to hide in the menus to pause the game's ATB while attack animations and the like are going off to really get the added benefit of having a high speed stat or haste status.
This is true. So Classy's going to give us a peek into Doma Castle, which Boo has already done, but Boo is checking out Zozo, Terra's check, where he's going to fight the boss in the Dada Luma spot.
And we've got the Goddess battle for Classy now.
Did you happen to notice if Classy picked up those super balls as well?
Classy does indeed have some super balls, as we're seeing right now. Not a very nice roll, though.
See, that is one of the big dangers of super balls, and it seems that they always roll super low for me, so I tend to avoid them.
They should have called them the mediocre balls. Because, I mean, you never know if you're going to get a nice fastball for thousands of damage, or, you know, just some nice juicy knuckleball, hanging curveball that the boss is just going to tank and then knock out of the yard and, you know, make you look foolish for wasting like 10,000 money.
Yeah, Classy is definitely hitting a bit more of a roadblock here with the Goddess than Boo did. And that's mostly due to just the random nature of those super balls, although he does make it through, but his Celis is not going to gain any XP there.
That's very unfortunate. And easy Air Force battle for Boo, being loaded up with Thunder Rods and Illuminas and all sorts of good things.
Air Force has never been a particularly challenging fight to begin with, and just blazing through it like that, it's all right. And what does Boo find? Boo finds an item. He finds a Genji glove. Probably not what Boo was hoping for here, but certainly not something he's going to be sad about finding.
Well, if Boo really wants to, he could head back to Ikea and buy 2 more Illuminas for someone else. A couple of Illumina duo wielders is going to solve most problems the game could throw at you.
Very true. If I were Boo, I would also be looking, or be on the lookout for an offering to pair with that Genji glove and those Illumina.
Ooh, no, you don't want to use an offering with Illumina.
If you don't care about the Pearl proc, you do.
No, because it halves the damage, and you don't get those MP crits. You do as much damage with 4 offering swings of the Illumina as you do just by swinging it by itself. And then there's the Pearl proc on top of that. It's a really bad matchup.
Yeah, see? Even I'm learning something new every time.
You're welcome, Rav.
I appreciate you.
Aw, thanks, buddy. You're making me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
That's my goal. Boo is now going to give us a peek into that Cyan's Dream. This is a sort of a longer sequence that our runners have available to them, while Classy is going for our other longer sequence, which is the Magitech Factory. Both of these have a number of treasure chests that they can loot while they're on their way, and are going to give both of our runners the opportunity to find 3 separate rewards. One thing that we did change about Cyan's dream, you do not need to go... you don't need to go in with Cyan and have him out of commission for the duration. And you don't need to find all 3 of your characters. You just need to find one of the Stooges, and then you can go to the door and fight the battle.
Well, we've got a Rexel battle here for Boo.
Rexel is another boss that we have mildly modified. We have just taken out Rexel's ability to cast Zinger. Again, because we cannot guarantee that you will have access to things like X-Zone or enough Phoenix Downs to be able to, knock out your own party until Rexel comes out. So this is a much more of a standard boss battle now instead of a special fight as it is in the vanilla game.
Got a Doulahan inside the Magitech facility.
Doulahan, now I don't know about you, but whenever I played this game as a kid, I always thought Doulahan was an undead enemy and tried to use a Phoenix Down on him every single time.
And I think that's an honest mistake to make, because it is a skeleton riding some sort of ethereal horse chariot thing. But no, the boss is scripted to cast Tier 2 on itself, and it heals itself.
That it does. Looks like Yoshi here, Classy's Yoshi, has used the Morph ability. Morph ability is quite powerful. It doubles damage, and I believe it halves incoming damage while the character is morphed.
It's Super Saiyan mode, basically. Unfortunately, Classy not making the best use of Morph here, electing to swing away with a, at the moment, very underpowered Atma weapon.
The Atma weapon has a unique damage formula that is quite complicated, but the upshot of it is if you are under level 64, its damage is going to be reduced.
It's strictly a endgame weapon only. I mean, it usually sells for a lot in the randomizer, which is nice. If you find one early, it's usually better to sell that Atma weapon and buy yourself something else nice from the stores. Be it some disposable rods, or if you're lucky enough to find a store that sells extremely high tier weapons, as was in Boo's case, finding those Illuminas.
Yes. That is true. Its damage is also decreased by how much or what percentage HP the character has missing. So if they are at full HP, it will do full damage. But also the level is going to be, at this point in the randomizer, the biggest detriment to that Atma weapon really getting a chance to shine.
Definitely. Well, inside Cyan's dream, we've spotted Old Man Strago, so that'll be yet another character picked up for Boo after battling another boss here.
Strago is one of the characters who I think we have come to the conclusion has the worst checks available to him.
Exactly. Nobody likes Strago checks.
All
the Fanatics Tower, which is a really, really long staircase. There's the Burning House, which is a lot of theoretically avoidable, but usually not avoidable battles. And then there's Ebbets Rock, which is complete RNG. No thank you.
They all take time. They all only give one reward. They are not my favorite. Let's see. Boo is going to be facing an Ultros. Now, I do have to say, this is Ultros 1 from the Leet River. I am way more terrified of an Ultros in this spot, where he is swimming through a stone floor.
It's like Ultros has become some sort of eldritch horror.
I mean, he still ends up going down very, very quickly.
Well, Strago has Possess, which is a really interesting command.
So we'll talk about Possess for a second, and then we will answer which, how we know which Ultros is which. So the Possess command, if you played Vanilla and remember during Saban's scenario on the Phantom Train, you could pick up a Ghost Friend. That Ghost Friend had the command Possess, which would trade the Ghost Friend's life to kill an enemy. A single enemy would be taken out. What this means is, in the randomizer, if you have it on a character, no boss is immune to Possess. That is up to and including Final Kefka. You can defeat Final Kefka in a single command with a single use of Possess.
Yep. Possess does have one big drawback, though, which makes it not spammable. Once you use Possess, that character is booted out of the party back to the airship. So while you could abuse Strago's Possess to do checks, you'll have to put him back in the party quite a bit. And if you're taking him into Kefka's tower, well, he's going to have to get by on his own merits and save that Possess for a really nasty boss, or perhaps the final boss, if you want to do it that way.
Yep. And now, as for which Ultros is which, it depends on the sprite and the battle formation. Classy is showing us a second Ultros. This is the Ultros from the Opera House. You can tell because it is a side attack. Your characters are surrounding Ultros. The Ultros from Leet River is half submerged in water.
You can also tell that it was Ultros 2 because we still had the Magitech facility theme playing throughout the battle. Ultros 2 doesn't change the background music.
Because normally he would be, ooh, that is Flare and Magic Power +2 on that Esper for Classy. That is something I am quite pleased to see personally.
Well, the Flare is completely unnecessary at this point. The Magic +2 is kind of nice, but as your levels get inflated, you're not going to be gaining quite as many of them, so the overall boost from that Magic +2 is going to be a little limited at this point. But if you're all done learning your spells, there's no reason not to throw it on and get a tiny boost to your magic damage each time you gain levels from here until the end.
Absolutely. I am never sad to see extra damage. To answer a chat question, there are no ghosts available to recruit in this particular randomizer. We have enough characters available to us.
Do we have time to read a couple quick donations?
Absolutely, go for it.
Awesome. Well, we have $10 from Curlon TV, which doesn't have a message, but thank you very much for the donation. We have $10 from Mr. Entity, which doesn't include a message, and then another $1 from Mr. Entity with the message, I forgot to boo Jack. And we have a $30 donation from Kevin Pan with the comment, let's make Tanya work. I believe that is intended to go with a certain incentive, and speaking of incentives, we have the play a set of co-op charts with Haru at $70 out of $400 for the Pump It Up showcase later on tonight, and if you've ever watched somebody play a rhythm game, even if you've never watched somebody play a rhythm game, co-op charts in rhythm games are amazing and awesome to watch, and I really hope we can get that incentive met. So if you want to see that, then get your donations in as soon as you can.
All right, thank you so much, Pidge, for that. I really appreciate that. Classy is making his way out of the Magitech factory, and I noticed that his Yoshi is now equipped with fixed dice. Because I saw some 4,000 and 6,000 damage rolls from that Yoshi, so that is quite nice.
Well, on Classy's side at least, Classy hasn't found those Illuminas, so fixed dice are a decent enough option to fall back on. I mean, they're like the Super Ball, highly random, but their damage is pretty much just going to completely ignore defense and all logical sensibilities.
Absolutely. Boo was going in to check the Phantom Train. When you are doing that check, you can go straight to the caboose, talk to the ghost friend there, and see what reward you are going to get. Whatever it was, he decided he didn't want it. So that's telling me it was an item and not an Esper, which is what I believe he is looking for right now.
Yeah, Boo definitely on an Esper hunt. Boo has 8 characters, so it's all about finding Espers now. So what I'm kind of curious about now, since Boo's going to Imperial Camp, once Boo sees that it's a character, Sellies, and not an Esper, is Boo just going to reset out of this one as well? Or is Boo going to take Sellies with the hope that something like Magitech Facility will turn into more delicious Espers down the line?
Or even just Celis' cell is going to be a very, very quick check for him to complete.
Quite true.
And I will note that our runners are taking completely different routes. They both have the required number of characters, and they are only 1 Esper apart from each other. So in reality, they are really neck and neck with each other at this point.
That's a pretty close race right now. We've got some pugs in a monster in a box for Boo here. With some luck, we might see some delicious Minerva drops. Minerva is the best body piece in the entire game, bar none. So it would definitely be nice to see 1, or if we're extremely lucky, upwards of 3 Minervas drop from these pugs.
Yep, these pugs, I believe each one of them has a 1 in 8 chance to drop that Minerva, so
1 in 16, if I recall correctly.
Fractions, not my favorite. But it does appear that they are not going to give Boo any pause.
Well, Boo has Illuminas, so their main thing of having gigantic evasion and counter magic attacks with really nasty moves isn't going to matter too much when you're just swinging a couple of Illuminas around like that.
And we have found a Sasquatch in the air. This is normally the crane's spot that Classy Badger is there. But personally, I am more terrified of a flying Sasquatch than I am of a couple of cranes.
Yeah, cranes are just like, construction tools. A Yeti is a Yeti, and a flying Yeti is like really scary. That's like some Dragon Ball stuff right there.
And it does look like Boo is going to actually complete this check and pick up the Celis.
I have my doubts that Boo's actually going to put Sellies in the party, but as we mentioned, she does have some of the most efficient checks to do.
That she does. Now, Umaro is another one of the characters in this randomizer that people seem to have some pretty split opinions on. Myself and Raph and a couple of the others, in particular, like the Umaro, particularly if you are able to change his equipment. I have found Umaro swinging Illuminas to be incredibly effective.
Well, the thing about Umaro is that the more you tweak the original cast, the better Umaro gets. When you're not, guaranteed to have a character who can use all the best gear, natural magic, and pair that with, say, more for throw or sword tech, Umaro just becomes a much more appealing option.
He is just consistent. He is consistent output of damage that is quite efficient, but it is uncontrollable.
Yep. Well, Umaro has won people races before. I think the most famous Umaro sighting that we've had in the Worlds Collide community as of yet, one of our racers finished the final battle with a solo Umaro entirely under the imp status the entire time.
Umaro does work. Ooh, Classy is headed into Nikea. I hope he checks this weapon shop and finds those Illuminas.
Very big find for Classy.
As long as he doesn't spend all of his money on Super Balls. Ooh, I'm a little nervous for him here. One other thing that we can plug is the Worlds Collide community is quite welcoming. We see several of our, I would say, prominent members here in the chat, cheering us along and our runners along here. We do weekly community races on Saturday nights, and we do have an event that is about to start called the Kefka Grand Prix. That is going to be a multi-week series of asynchronous races, so you'll have a week to complete them. You complete them on your own time, post your time in the Discord, and then it is Mario Kart style scoring. So the person in first will get the most points, the person in second will get that number of points -1, and so on down the list. If anyone is interested, please ask one of our members in the chat here, and they can get you a link, and we look forward to welcoming new members to the community. Anyone who's new, just ask questions, feel free. There will be someone around at almost all times of day and night to answer any questions you may have.
Answering questions is a favorite pastime of mine.
So it looks like Classy, I don't think he checked that weapon shop.
No, he definitely did.
Oh, he did? I missed it. I was talking.
He was there to pick up a couple more Luminas as well, it looks like. Boo's going to go for the free Sellies check inside South Figaro now. And we've got Classy heading up Mount Colts, and we know that a realm is at the top of Mount Colts.
Yep, and at the point that he would get that realm, he would find out it's a realm. The battle's already over, and all you need to do is use a warp stone. So I don't expect Classy to reset out of that. I expect him to just take the realm and go with it.
He will conquer this realm.
So Boo is now at the 6 of 10 Espers, and Classy is at 5. Our racers are still neck and neck, despite taking entirely different routes through the game so far. They are just struggling to find enough Espers to get into Kefka's Tower.
Well, there's tons of options available. It's really just a matter of time now. Just keep doing checks and you're going to find them eventually.
That is true. So I've sort of found in my experience there are two different kinds of seeds in Worlds Collide. There are ones like this where it is so incredibly open you can go almost anywhere. And then sometimes you can have 5 or 6 checks available to you and only one of them will give you a character that will allow you to progress. So sometimes they're incredibly open and sometimes you end up getting a fairly linear seed. It's just however the randomizer decides to treat you that day.
Precisely. This one's pretty nice and wide open. Although, not quite the same path. We've seen a lot of similar decisions from both of our racers right now. We've got Classy battling the Magi Master here. You can see that once Magimaster triggers his wall change phase, it's kind of hard to deal damage to the boss. You're best relying on non-elemental damage at this point.
And
so those dice will put in some work. And earlier Super Ball. Another Super Ball there will get some more damage in. That's pretty much the order of the day for offense if you trigger this wall change phase. One of the most popular Magimaster strategies is to go into the battle with the wall ring equipped and put the controller down.
Because eventually Magimaster will bounce enough spells off of that wall to take himself out, and if you do not take an offensive action against him, he will never start activating his elemental resistances.
Very true. You can also just Berserk him and be done with it, but Berserk is a pretty rare status to have access to.
That's true. And while our racers are taking some time doing some overlapping checks, Pidge, this would be another good time for donations, or plug the charity again if you'd like.
Sounds great, thank you. We have $20 from Myria that says 20 meows for coloring Super Mario Land 2, and that is a pretty cool incentive that we have upcoming for the Super Mario Land run to upgrade to the DX version, which includes color and Luigi. That's the only donation that we have right now, but at the time, I guess I'll take this opportunity to plug some of our prizes. So we're excited to let you know that we have some fantastic Take This loot in our prizes this year, which normally you can only get from donating directly to a Take This Hope booth during a convention, so all these are pretty rare finds. We have a variety of wonderful prizes, and for today, you can get a Hope Shield made by Wormwood Gaming, which comes in a box of hope and is created from a random wood by Wormwood, and you can use it as a worry stone and a reminder that you're not alone. We have 3 of these wonderful Hope Shields to give away this year, each one blind boxed, so it will be a surprise which one you receive. Each shield will also come with information about the unique and beautiful wood used to create it. And if you want to be put in a prize draw for this or any of our other wonderful prizes, like our Perler creations from Kinda Nerdy Housewife, or the coasters by Inari, there's so many awesome things you can win from donating to this marathon. So get your donations in whenever you can, and be sure to check out our incentives and help us meet some of our goals.
Hey Pidge, is there a minimum donation to be entered into those prize drawings?
I actually don't remember. You know what? Let me get back to you on that.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Scala just confirmed in chat there is no minimum. Thank you, Scala.
Perfect. Just wanted to make sure that I was entered in for those drawings with my donation.
Definitely.
So Classy is taking another run here at the Magimaster. I think he's hoping for some better Super Ball luck. One thing I think that's making this Magimaster a little bit more challenging for Classy is that he has more checks done than when Boo did it. So this Magimaster is a higher level, which means more HP to chew through.
And level 3 spells that could probably wipe the whole team.
Details.
The devil's in them.
And looks like Boo is going up to do Mount Zozo, the secret mountain behind Zozo. I am really confused from the vanilla game how you can walk through a door and find yourself in a mountain. But
well, you can see it right there. You like walk through the door and there's like a little cave you walk through, and then you're inside a cave before you get to the mountain.
Sure, we'll go with that.
You know, it's a perfectly cromulent passage.
Looks like Classy has made his way through that Magimaster. He is not going to be super thrilled with finding a realm there, although he might take what we have affectionately named the Murder Child, since she has so much magic power she will murder anything in her path. He might end up taking her just for that magic power.
She is powerful, magically.
Yep.
I'm glad I added to this discussion.
Boo is taking a save here. That makes me think he might end up taking a shot at this dragon. He is tenting up. So dragon's going to give him some powerful leveling and the possibility of some powerful items. So I wonder what dragon we are going to find today. It is the Skull Dragon.
So, pretty easy Durgan. Weak to Holy, weak to Fire, not going to last long at all. Get up, pop off a few Fire 2s, swing some Illuminas, and that'll do it, I'm sure.
Yep. You'll notice that Boo has not really cast Ultima, even though he has it on the Sellies. He is instead opting for swinging swords and casting Fire 2s, which are doing actually quite a bit of damage, and I think that's due to the Ultima just being a slow spell to cast.
If I'm not mistaken, we had an incentive for no Ultima, So I think the racers are basically a gentleman's agreement honoring that.
Ah.
But as has been noted, Illumina's faster than Ultima, and it's pretty much just as strong. So why not? The only thing Ultima has on Illumina is if there's multiple targets, which really isn't going to be much of an issue in boss fights until the tier 2 of the final boss fight, really.
Yep. Looks like Classy is aiming to turn in that dried meat here on the Veld with one of Gao's checks. Again, hoping for another Esper. Boo has found an Esper here. That knocks him up to 8. He is getting very close to being able to dive into Kefka's tower.
Yeah, 8's an interesting number, too. When you only need 2, sometimes players might go to the dreaded auction house.
And why is that auction house so dreaded?
RNG! RNG!
It has the possibility of having 2 Espers for sale, just like in Vanilla. And if you get them, you can buy them. But sometimes there will be something completely different, and you will just find item after item after item after item after item.
And nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition or the Imp Robot.
That is true. So the RNG manipulation for the auction house has actually been mostly patched out by the fact that we have added in a way to scramble the RNG. That way you cannot guarantee a setup for Joker Doom, and the auction house manipulation was sort of caught up in the same net as that.
Exactly.
If you spend the time to figure out the RNG and know it well enough and are able to manipulate it afterwards, more power to you. But you might just be served by just going into the auction house several times.
The usual strategy is to just buy everything as it comes up, because the randomizer at least presents all the rare items to you before giving you junk items. Although the robot can just show up whenever it wants. Well, for Boo, it looks like 2 of his best characters were just blown right out by Funbaba, but luckily the follow-up is Narapa, which is not a difficult boss by any stretch of the imagination.
It's not, and I'm sort of wondering, he is going for the possess strats here. And there goes Strago, and Narapa is down.
Yep. Well, well, that's a good spot to use Possess, because you're prompted to recreate your party immediately after.
That is true. We will note that Strago did not gain any XP from that battle, because if you were paying attention, you saw that his HP was set to 0 before the battle ended. So Strago did eliminate himself in order to take out that Narapa.
He possessed Narapa, and then Lord knows what happened after that, but Strago went back to the airship after it was all said and done. Gogo, like Malcolm, solves his problems with a chainsaw.
Yep.
Over on Classy's side.
Classy is showing us the Serpent Trench. Another, it's a longer check. Has some of these fixed encounters, which can be very good for getting some XP and getting some levels up. It also has a few treasure chests along the way if you choose the correct directions to go. Usually something that I'm okay with doing at this point. If I were in Classy's spot, I'd be okay with doing Serpent Trench now.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if nothing else, it's a lot of easy experience. Or just, just run away. Your choice. We just saw that dreaded flare spell. It's so slow.
But it is non-elemental damage. And this is something that's come up a couple of times during this race. Why is non-elemental damage important in Worlds Collide?
Well, non-elemental damage if you haven't really memorized a boss's weakness, immune, etc. table, you know that it's going to work. The main nice thing about Flare is that it ignores magic defense. So against enemies with high magic defense, it can be viable. Most notably against Rexol is a good time to bust out Flare if you're lacking any ice rods or ice shields or good physical attacks. Otherwise, chances are you have better options. Maybe they don't do as much damage in one cast as Flare, but you could probably cast it twice in the time it takes for that very, very long Flare animation.
Very true. The other thing is you always want to make sure that you have a consistent source of non-elemental damage for the final Kefka fight. When you get to that phase 3 of Girl and Sleep, Girl will absorb every element in the game, so you absolutely need to have some source of non-elemental damage to take her down. Otherwise, she will revive Sleep, and you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, it would be bad if you were stuck, say, swinging mithril knives at Girl until she croaks at the very end of the game. That doesn't sound pleasant.
I would rather not do that, personally. Have you noticed, have either of our runners found Fenrir or Golem?
I haven't seen those espers pop up yet, to be completely honest.
Neither have I.
But while they're a nice safety net against the calmness from Tier 3, if you're packing this many Illuminas, I don't think you have to worry about it, because you're probably just going to avoid the physical death move calmness anyway. If you're rocking a couple of Illuminas, you've got over 100 evade. Ain't nothing getting through that, unless you're very unlucky. Of course, if you have 128 evade or more, ain't nothing getting through that, plain and simple.
Very true. When you eliminate Sleep in Tier 3, he will counter with 0, 1, or 2 calmnesses, which are an instant death physical attack, which means that things like the safety bit and the memento ring will not protect you. They only protect you against instant death magic.
Very true.
So most of our runners will try to find some way to mitigate calmness. That can either be through high evade, through the Esper Fenrir or the Esper Golem. I have also seen some folks use the Armor Mirage Vests as a strat to get through, because that gives you the image ability. And then sometimes, depending on what the seed gives you, you just pray.
Exactly. Well, I'd like to welcome a whole bunch of new viewers who have come over here from RPG Limit Break. Welcome to the party. We're having a Worlds Collides race over here at the RPG Valkyries.
And for those who have just joined us, this is an open world randomizer. Our players are trying to find 7 characters and 10 espers in order to enter into Kefka's tower, and it appears that BooTheRunner has just gotten his 10th esper, so I expect him to start diving that tower rather soon. Classy Badger is not that far behind. He is looking for another 4 espers, I believe, if his tracker is fully updated. And while our players are doing that, Pidge, would you like to plug the charity for all of our new viewers?
Absolutely. So Speedrun Ragnarok 2020 is partnered with Take This. Take This is an awesome, wonderful charity, and Take This helps people in the gaming community suffering from mental illness by letting them know that they are not alone in their struggles and there are treatment options out there to help. You can visit takethis.org to see more about what initiatives they have and what they can do to help. Take This also has some pretty cool stuff associated with it, such as during the Speedrun Ragnarok marathon, we are going to be having some discussion segments with representatives of Take This, and one of them actually is one of the authors featured in the new book, The Psychology of Final Fantasy: Surpassing the Limit Break, available online in both physical and digital formats at your favorite bookshop. So be sure to stay tuned in this week and don't miss that.
Awesome. I did not know such a book existed. I might need to check that out.
Reading is fun. You, get all knowledges and stuff.
Absolutely. Classy has made his way through that Air Force. Yes, the old man on top of the building in Zozo was secretly a giant airplane Air Force. And it looks like Boo is about to not dive Kefka's tower. I don't know what Boo's doing.
Boo is just buying more Illuminas and presumably going to be buying some more cheap Super Balls here with his kingly discount.
Boo is making sure that he is eminently well prepared for this, for Kefka's tower. He is going to need to split his group up into 3 separate parties, and you know, when you split your group up, bosses that wouldn't be a challenge for your whole group could suddenly become quite scary.
Not in this case. I mean, Boo has 3 dual Illumina users. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, unless something really bad happens, Boo can basically hold A through battles until the end of the game.
That is true. This seed was quite generous with those physical damage abilities. And by abilities, I just mean Illuminas. That's all.
The Illumina is like a cheat code that you equip on your hand. And then you can have 2 of them.
Yep. And just to answer a question in chat, Miria was asking if you could do both of Zozo's checks, Mount Zozo and the Ramu's chair check in the same world. That used to be the case, but then our wonderful developer, Atmatech, decided to add in a couple of NPCs who will get in your way. So if you're in the world of Ruin, you will not be able to get to the Ramu's chair, and if you're in the world of Balance, you will not be able to get to Mount Zozo.
They are world exclusive. The worlds do not collide in Zozo.
This is true. And Boo has now entered into Kefka's tower, and we are going to see him make his way through that. We're going to see several boss battles. One of the advantages of a relatively new flag that we have, where everyone joins at your average party level, is that normally, or before that flag, you would go into Kefka's tower. Like, this party would be Realm at level 42 and a couple of level 3 to 5 characters. So while Gao and Gogo are only in their 20s, which is not a level that can do a lot of work, they are not useless. And I will take not useless.
I don't know. I mean, useless has its moments.
What, to warm the floor?
Exactly. I mean, the floor needs love too.
If you say so, Jack.
And I did.
So, heading into Kefka's tower here, are there any bosses that you in particular want to see us fight, or think could pose a little bit of a challenge for our runner? Or is everything easy?
Well, Spicy Chicken would probably be one of the bigger threats right now, since Spicy Chicken's got a lot of physical defense. So you can't just Illumina your way through that. I mean, you can, but not as easily as other bosses. And Spicy Chicken's pretty nasty. Atma Weapon, or not Atma Weapon, but Grown-Up Atma, rather, could be a problem as well, since it absorbs Holy. Those Pearl procs would be undesirable in that situation.
And Doomgaze could be, depending on your exact party levels. But Spicy Chicken is also known as Poltergeist. I believe it was during one of our very first community races. I was commentating it, and Poltergeist came up on screen, and I made a comment that, wow, he looks like he is riding a flaming chicken. And ever since then, he has been known as Fire Chicken or Spicy Chicken.
I prefer Spicy Chicken because it makes me want Wendy's and their delicious sandwiches. Now I want some Wendy's.
Well, we'll see see how much time we have here. You might be able to go get some dinner afterwards.
Why don't you just go to the restaurant for me, Rav?
Because I believe I'm thousands of miles away from you.
Yeah, but when has that ever stopped us? I mean, we have an airship. We can go wherever we want.
Oh my lord, that is a terrible pun from chat, but I'm going to repeat it. It's Poltergeist.
That's a good one.
Ooh, this is the first time we get to say this. Hey, Inferno's in his vanilla spot. Is this even randomized?
Obviously not. Inferno is one of those bosses that you really hate to see early on, but later on is usually not too much of an issue.
Absolutely. I mean, Strago came through with a 9,000 damage die roll there. Not much was going to stand up to that.
You know what? You like to see that because Strago's, being useful early on here in Kefka's Tower. Strago's sole purpose, I'm pretty sure, is to possess Final Kefka in this party setup. But hey, if you can get a big dice roll in the meantime, why not, right? And speaking of vanilla, we've got vanilla enemies inside of Owzer's mansion.
Ooh. Usually I'm excited when I see one of those cat sprites on the enemy side, hoping for the stray cat if I have a user of rage, but that was Wildcat. Not nearly as exciting.
Definitely not. I mean, all those enemies inside Owzer's, if you're playing vanilla, are a nice little path to power. If you can steal from them, you get all those unique Realm and Strago armors. If you keep betting them at the Coliseum, eventually you'll have all the Genji armor in the world. Hot tip for you, is there?
True, and looks like Classy is going to take out this tunnel armor and is going to get himself a shadow. Classy finds another character. This seed has been incredibly generous with people and incredibly stingy with stones. I think if that was almost any boss but Tunnel Armor, Classy probably would have reset out of there, but Tunnel Armor is possibly the least threatening enemy in the game, next to maybe Leader.
Basically, yeah. Tunnel Armor has the least physical defense, I think, of any enemy in the game. So, on top of it, just in generally not being a very threatening boss, like, its whole gimmick in vanilla is that its level 1 magic is really potent for when you fight it. But in the randomizer, that's just never a problem.
True,
so,
and
I was gone.
Actually just about to say that Welk is, the first boss in the entire game in vanilla and is more threatening than Tunnel Armor.
Pretty much, yeah. Welk's actually a pretty nasty boss. It just doesn't seem that way because you have all those super-powered Gundam suits at the start of the game.
Absolutely. Boo is really cutting his way through Kefka's Tower like a hot alumina through... I assume they have butter in this world. Through butter.
Like a hot alumina through something weak.
A hot alumina through a leafer?
There you go.
Or in this case, a hot alumina through a weld. And he is definitely getting himself set up and prepared for this final Kefka fight. I will say, so everything in this game so far has been scaled to his progress ×2. So he currently has 9 characters and 10 espers. So his enemies are somewhere in the upper 30s to low 40 levels. One thing that is left completely unscaled here is the Final Kefka battle. So Final Kefka will be level 68, I believe?
73.
73. Close enough. So that Final Kefka battle is, as it is in vanilla, all of the enemies will do... have their vanilla scripts, have their vanilla HP pools. And we did it that way because you can scale the final Kefka battles, and things can get real wonky if you do that.
Absolutely. In the early days of the randomizer, scaling the final battles was kind of the common setting, and we didn't have boss experience at that point, so it wasn't too uncommon to see people with, you know, having never gained any experience fighting like level 3 and 4 and 5 final bosses. And, well, you'd think that might be good, but since a lot of their scripts and counters are based on HP thresholds, it just puts you in for a really, really, really bad time. And also, you know, if someone else is fighting the final boss at the level of the 40s, well, the goalposts are quite different between racers, and that just didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Right, and it had the possibility of making the final battle a little anticlimactic, so we decided to power up Kefka to his full glory, and force our racers to be prepared to deal with that.
Exactly. You know exactly what you need in order to overcome the final boss. It's some combination of overwhelming offense, or the ability to defend against the various counters and attacks. There's quite a lot of ways to get through the final battle, which is nice, even as it completely is. But it's never something that you should take lightly, I should say. Most of the counters on all 4 forms can and will wipe an unprepared party.
Absolutely. Even just last night with the community race, I was struggling with some of those counters myself. Three Stooges definitely had the possibility of being a rather rude check here, but Boo was able to take out the top Stooge quickly enough so that there will be no reviving of the other Stooges or the Delta attack. The Delta attack can absolutely ruin your day when it turns one of your characters into a statue.
Well, not this time. There's 2 Stooges down already, and I don't think Larry is very long for this world with those big Fire 2s coming out here.
That is true. And I do believe Classy just picked up his 10th Esper as well and is now making his way to Kefka's Tower. I believe he got the 9th and then immediately went to Zen to buy from the Thief in the Woods, or as we often call him here, the Sketchy Dude. And gonna save outside of Kefka's Tower just in case anything goes a little bit pear-shaped. And we're gonna have both of our runners in Kefka's Tower at the same time.
A bit of separation between the two, but yeah, pretty close overall here.
This seed definitely showcased a couple of different strategies for offensive choices. We had Super Balls and Illuminas and some powerful magic choices. It also showed that our runners took incredibly different routes and, still came up to the same thing, to the same result in relatively equal amounts of time.
Oh yeah, punch that octopus, Cyan.
Cyan's helping. And I will say that we did give a fairly generous estimate for this because just depending on how the seed is, if the seed was different, it could absolutely have taken upwards of 2 hours to even get into Kefka's Tower. So that's sort of the nature of randomizers. They're random. And actually, Mr. Entity, I'm going to correct you. I rolled this seed. So apparently, in the D2 of seeds that I rolled the nice one and not the mean one.
I believe Mr. Entity was referring to the race last night. Future rolled that one.
That is true. Yep, I just missed the first message. My bad.
Don't be bad, Rav. Be good. Do-gooder. But don't drink a do-gooder. Those are nasty. here we go. Kefka's going to appear in his pyramid of power. Will Boo emerge triumphant? Or will Kefka continue his reign of chaos?
And I think it's incredibly appropriate that Realm is in the front there, seeing as she is the murder child. I believe canonically she's, what, 10, 11, 12, something like that? And unfortunately, we will not be able to get the dancing mad music from Boo. His setup just does not allow that. But we will get to hear that wonderful soundtrack when Classy gets there.
Well, you can see Boo opening right out the gates with an Odin Esper, which unfortunately misses. That the right arm of this boss is vulnerable to death. So Boo hoping to pick it off in one casting right there. Going to try again with X Zone from Strago. That connects, so that long arm is done. Now Boo will be focusing on the face first here. You don't want to kill the face last, because if you do, it's going to cast a very, very high power Quake at your party, dealing upwards of 3,000 damage to everyone. That's a wipe. Don't do that.
How many times have you lost races to that? Because for me, the number is more than 2.
Well, 0, because I'm smarts and stuff.
We see Boo taking advantage of one of the settings that we have allowed on here, which is multicasting espers. He can cast an esper more than once, so he is putting on that Fenrir now for a little bit of extra defense, and will be able to use that Fenrir for the tier 3 calmness avoidance when that comes up as well.
And I imagine if any of those images go away, the Fenrir will be refreshed on tier 2 as well. One of the parts in tier 2 counters with 10 hits, which does exactly what it says on the tin.
And those 10 hits can absolutely wreck your day. I used to not think it was all that serious. I'm like, oh, 10 hits, I'll avoid most of them, and then it wiped half of my characters. I was not pleased.
The physical attacks are quite nasty in the final battle. In the rando, you're not going to be, sporting a full set of Genji equipment on everyone, or Minervas everywhere, or snow mufflers everywhere. Usually, anyway. If you don't have over 200 defense on a character, those physical attacks are going to be reaching quadruple digits, and there's 10 of them.
All right, I'll be very interested to see if he goes for another cast of the Odin here, because the enemy next to the girl in the red dress, also known as Tools, is vulnerable to instant death, and he has a lot of nasty attacks, so you do want to take care of him as quickly as you can.
Yep. Well, X-Zone missed, so here comes Odin for try number 2 at the insta-kill. And it's good. And also took care of the Tiger part of Tier 2 very quickly. Tiger's weak to ice, as you saw from those max damage Ice 3 spells being flung out, paired with the Illuminas. So now it's just down to the magic part and the physical part. You can see Boo's refreshing Fenrir, because knowing that 10 hits death counter attack is going to be coming up. And the magic part is usually what runners save for last. And if you have access to the silence spell, you can just silence the magic part, and it can't do anything.
I mean, it'll try really hard.
It will try, but it won't do anything. In most situations, it's the Tools part that can be instantly killed because it has all the nasty Magitech magic attacks. Or the Tiger, which can basically either freeze your whole party, which is a wipe, or turn your dudes into zombies, which is not good.
So even despite Boo's power, he is, still having to take this relatively seriously here. And it looks like Classy's having a bit of an issue where it didn't quite trigger one of his characters on the button. If you switch parties too quickly, those buttons will not register.
It's a frame-perfect move that you actually don't want to pull off in a speedrun.
Well, not of this randomizer, because we have eliminated the party swapping glitch, so you cannot skip the Poltergeist statue or Inferno anymore. That has been patched out.
It has been patched out, but I don't think anyone deliberately did it in the early days of the randomizer. There was always, you know, a fair play gentleman's agreement that that's just not something to do. That's not cool.
Before we had come to that agreement, I definitely did it. But then it was discussed among the community, and
you cheater.
It was before we discussed it as a community and came to the acceptance of that we were not going to do that unless it was explicitly allowed.
Hey, everyone, look at Rav. Rav's a dirty, stinky cheater.
You know it.
Well, tier 3 here now for Boo. This is probably going to be the most serious threat against the way Boo's set up for this final battle here.
And he's casting your favorite spell. He's casting Flare.
It's somewhat defensible here. Personally, I'd just swing away with the Illuminas and assume that that would get the job done, but, you know, if you want to make sure you're not healing it with accidental Flare proc or Pearl procs, that is the way to go, I will reluctantly admit. Boo refreshing the images to negate calmness when that happens. So the main question now is Sleep going to make it rain? Or are we going to not have all the space rocks in the world?
Sleep does have the ability to counter with Meteo and then take his turn and cast Meteo immediately, which, if both Meteos hit all 4 characters, do have the possibility of wiping this party, even at this level.
And yep, it'll be very hard to get through the massive evasion granted by those Illuminas. And yeah, as you saw, Meteo missed basically the whole team, and calmness negated by Fenrir. So we're on to final Kefka, which is, well, assuming Strago doesn't miss, going to be somewhat anticlimactic here. But it's not like Boo really even needs to possess. Should only really have to attack twice each with Celes and Edgar to wipe out Kefka's hit points with those big, bad Illuminas.
Absolutely. So we are now seeing final Kefka. He is floating down from the heavens as maybe a religious allegory? Who knows? Who could say? Let's see if he is defeated by an old man in a single turn.
Over on Classy's side, Yoshi smoked some ganja and is now stoned.
Yep, that is one of the dangers. And there is... Boo has completed the final Kefka. Boo is done. We see the flash booms. Kefka is down in a single use of the ability Possess. GG to Boo. And Classy, unfortunately, has to take a short reset here for those 3 Stooges. Those Stooges are not kind enemies. If you are not super prepared for them, they can ruin your day.
As we just saw there, yeah. But, you know, Classy's going to be ready this time. Classy heading into the relic screen, so just going to toss a ribbon on Yoshi, and that will eliminate the main threat in the fight.
I think he'll also be able to put a memento ring onto Shadow, and that should protect him as well. Or
that would indeed protect, yes.
Or he'll just decide that Shadow doesn't. So Boo is going to let these final credits play for a little while for us, while we let Classy Badger finish up as well.
And it won't be too much longer for Classy Badger here. Once Classy gets past the Stooges, which are probably the nastiest fight that we saw here of the final statue trio, it'll be on to final Kefka with Classy's full-powered forces.
Now, I don't believe Classy actually picked up Strago, so I believe we're going to see a quote-unquote legitimate final Kefka fight.
Quite. Well, Savin's got a ribbon, so that's the lesson, kids. Wear ribbons and don't do drugs.
So in the end, it came down to just some routing differences between Boo and Classy Badger. Boo managed to find more Magicite a little bit faster.
That contributed to it for sure. I would also say that maybe Classy spent a little bit too much time futzing over equipment at times. You saw that Boo would typically only enter the menu to change character equipment whenever Boo knew that he'd be going into a battle. Whereas on Classy's side, we saw Classy open the menu quite a lot anytime finding a nice item to put it on right away. Those small menus do add up over time.
They absolutely do. And we are going to see BooTheRunner might be able to join us to chat about this a little bit. Let's see if I can find him.
While you're looking for Boo, Pidge, do we have any new donations or anything you'd like to announce to all of our viewers here?
We have quite a few new donations. We have $5 from Sephram that says Boo Jack. Also, I'm not as punny as some of the viewers of the weekly rando races, but here's a try. One day, the Mughals invited Umaro to one of their dances, but when he got there, no one felt like dancing because Umaro smelled so bad. Finally, Mog stood up and yelled, "Dance, my friends! Dance like there's no Umaro!" We have... Thank you for the $5 and thank you for the pun story. We have $25 from Karant that says, "Hello from the FF4 and FFR communities. Mental health is super important and it's great to see you guys working to promote it. Thank you so much, I definitely agree." We have $25 from Gundam Pilot Spaz that just says, "Good luck, Belks," and thank you very much for that. We have $5 from Jason WFD with no message but still appreciated all the same. And as a reminder, we have some great incentives coming up. Specifically, we have a Pump It Up 20th Anniversary Edition incentive that's currently sitting at $86 of $400 to play a set of co-op charts. And co-op charts in rhythm games are pretty awesome, so I would highly recommend getting those donations in to meet that incentive because I definitely want to see that. And also the runner for the Pump It Up showcase is a good friend of mine, and I'm really, really excited to see that showcase later on. As another reminder, all of our donations are going toward Take This. Take This is an amazing charity organization that works to reduce the stigma around mental health, and specifically their focus is on the gaming community and the gaming industry. They work to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders, and overall reduce the stigma surrounding mental illness. For more information about their initiatives and their incredible work, please visit takethis.org.
All right, thank you so much, Pidge. And I do want to say that we are joined here by BooTheRunner. GG Boo, well played.
Hello, thank you.
Real quick, what did you think of this seed overall?
Oh, it was good. I was hoping my little technical snafu at the start wasn't a bad omen, but ended up going okay. I don't think I've ever gotten that many characters up front in a seed. That was interesting, and I ran into a little couldn't decide which checks to do and which characters to keep. I just had too many options. So
understandable. By our count, between both Edgar and Sabin, 5 of their 8 checks led to characters.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts, but it was kind of fun. I don't know how long it took me to find my first Esper, but I was pretty happy when I finally did.
I believe it had Ice too, which is, a spell that's not nothing.
It's not nothing. Luckily, we had rods available, and I happened to find those Illuminas, which I got a little Illumina happy. I think I made 4 trips back to town for more, but they're so expensive, It's hard to get them all up front. Had so many Genji gloves, I figured I'd make good use of them.
You certainly did.
And then, so I picked up Strago, who had Possess, which shocked me for a second. So I decided I would try to take him all the way to the end, even though Strago is the worst, and he's useless. He was the MVP of the Kefka fight, I guess.
In his defense, Strago did roll 9,000 fixed dice for you.
That was pretty impressive. He did more than Edgar, which was surprising. So yeah, overall, no real hiccups. Went okay. A few dead checks, but you know, rando's gonna rando. Oh, the only issue I ran into was I forgot which character was which when I was starting my Kefka fight. So luckily, I chose right.
That is the danger of renaming them, isn't it?
Yeah, pay attention to the names, kids. There's your lesson of the day.
Or you could do what Classy's done and just take both of them.
Oh yeah, that works too. Yeah, I really couldn't decide who to use. You know, with the randomized commands, sometimes normally like a good vanilla character ends up not being so good. For example, you get Cyan with, you know, lore or something, some magic ability. His stats are not great. So, you know, you got to make that decision, and sometimes you can't. Or sometimes it's difficult, I should say.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say GG again. Great run. Fantastic showing off a few of the fun little tricks that we have here in the randomizer. And thank you so much for putting on a great show.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Best music playing. Everyone, you know, hold up your lighters and get your devil horns out. We got some good stuff going on here.
I do enjoy the music here. It is absolutely sublime. And it does look like Classy is, you know, just rolling an absolute huge amounts of damage and, you know, making his way through this. One thing I've noticed, did either of our runners find curing magic on any of their espers?
I haven't really seen it, but it's not particularly necessary. There's enough X potions and elixirs to go around.
There are. Between that and Life 2, they should be fine, but that is something that I'm always a little bit wary of. You know, you definitely need to be a little bit more conscious during the final Kefka battle if you don't have Cure 2 or Cure 3.
Precisely. Well, we can already see how hard the physicals are from Tier 1 here. Classy, not having the luxury of spammable Fenrir Esper, is taking thousands of damage for a big swing from that Titan with his fists.
Absolutely. And it looks like he was trying to get Gogo to use that chainsaw to Freddy Krueger that arm, but it didn't quite work out.
Well, the long arm was already gone, but maybe Gogo can get a nice Doom gib on the tools part with that chainsaw up here.
Yep. And I believe it's Mr. Entity in chat did bring up that there is a possibility if they had found Merton and gear that absorbs fire or wind damage, that is also technically a curative spell since it does fire and wind damage against the entire battlefield.
Very true. Merton is a glorious thing to see in action if you can pull it off, though it's quite rare to have a full set of fire and or wind protection. Unless you get that, you know, lucky 3 Minerva drops from a Pugs fight, well, then you're set.
Absolutely. I mean, if you get 3 Minervas from a Pugs, you're going to be set no matter what happens.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's enough offense in the game to take out a party of Minerva-wearing characters. Unless you run into an Ultima counter from Kefka or the like.
Yep, that is certainly possible, and that would make anyone's day a little rough there at the end. If Kefka is under 10,000 HP, he has a 1/3 chance to counter any of your attacks with Ultima. That certainly would... It is hard to survive. It is not impossible, but it is challenging.
Well, we're just seeing why Tiger is considered the nastiest part of Tier 2. That's 3 frozen humans for Classy Badger. Luckily, this Southern Cross is a fire move, so that's gonna melt all that iciness and get Classy back into the fight.
There we go. Classy is definitely showing that these tiers, no matter how prepared you are, no matter how many Illuminas you have, they can still cause you problems. It is, you know, every so often the game needs to remind you that, yeah, it's still serious. You do need to take every tier of the final Kefka fight seriously in order to make your way through it.
Yep, but it's not going to be as easy for Classy. The lack of Fenrir is very noticeable. You can see already here. Well, with Tiger down, it's time to focus on the tools part. You can see Classy electing not to try and get the chainsaw death proc. Just going to do it the old-fashioned way with raw damage and bolt 3 spells.
And, you know, once again, I think this showcases another great aspect of this randomizer is that there isn't one single strategy to get through this final fight. Our runners took different ways to get through it. I really enjoy that about this randomizer, that there isn't necessarily always going to be one correct path through the randomizer, whether that be through the checks or how you handle the various battles. As we are getting close to the end here, I do want to just take a moment to shout out the Worlds Collide randomizer community. They have shown up here in chat, and they are throwing some good support here, and we definitely appreciate that. I also want to, in particular, shout out the developer of this. This is currently developed by a single person, Atmatech, and he has been not only very responsive to the community, but has also been working incredibly hard on this. This is less than a year old, and we're already at the point here where we are able to do showcases at marathons like this. So shout outs to the community and to Atmatech in particular. And Jack, I would like to personally thank you for spending the last couple of hours here with me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been my pleasure to be the butt of everyone's jokes for a couple hours.
You know, you seem to enjoy it, though.
Hey, all attention is good.
That explains so much.
Classy's wearing tier numero dos down here.
That is true, and I also do want to shout out or bring to people's attention once again that there is the Kefka Grand Prix. The event starts, I believe, tomorrow, but signups finish tonight at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a series of weekly asynchronous races, so everyone will be given the seed on Mondays, and you will have the week to finish them. And you will gain points based on your standing, and then after a certain number of weeks, we will cut to the top 4 based on points and finish it out that way. And we welcome anyone to join. If you have never played before, this would be actually a great way to jump in and get your feet wet. You can do the races at your own time, at your own pace, and there won't be any elimination until the very end, so you will get to participate in all of the races. So if you are interested in the Kefka Grand Prix, go ahead and head to the Worlds Collide website, and you will see the link to the Discord, and then you will be able to find the signups for the Kefka Grand Prix. And I hope to see some new faces there. I look forward to seeing some new faces in the Discord and in the community. You know, we welcome all comers.
Yeah. Even if you don't want to compete in the KGP, You should still just join the Discord anyway. There's a lot of good humans there, and we're always looking for more cool peeps to chillax with.
Absolutely, and Kefka is Kefka. Classy is not named Kefka, Rav. Classy is made his way towards tier 3. That Gogo doing 4k damage. I'm actually surprised at how much damage Gogo was able to pull off there. He's working on taking out that girl, and then Sleep's going to come up, and you know, I wonder how Calmness is going to treat him. At least with people, with new characters joining at your average party level, the characters that might replace any characters that fall here will not be useless.
Yep. You don't necessarily need your best characters for the final tier as long as you can navigate Kefka's AI. You see, Final Kefka has some really, really awful attacks. But the thing is, they're all counterattacks, which he doesn't really start using until at about half HP. And when he's charging up for his quote-unquote ultimate attack, Goner, he won't be using counterattacks. That's your time to strike. Goner theoretically is more powerful than Ultima, but unlike Ultima, it doesn't ignore magic defense. It's still going to hit hard, you know, a couple thousand-o to everyone in most normal circumstances. But his Ultima counters like 5,000 or 6,000 to the party, it's a wipe. You don't want to trigger that.
That you don't. So a lot of people end up sitting there and trying to count their damage that they're doing so that they can try to avoid that Ultima count.
Well, busting out Train here. Train is nasty. It inflicts silence and darkness on the entire team. But not Yoshi. Yoshi's still wearing that ribbon.
Yep.
And, well, honestly, it's not really going to affect Goose or Celes too much because Illuminas can't miss.
That is true, but the fact that the evade bug is fixed here does mean that the blind status does actually do something in the randomizer.
Yeah. Oh, there's that dreaded double media we mentioned earlier. A counterattack followed up by his normal turn. And unfortunately, somehow, Medio getting through Celes's really, really high evasion with those two Illuminas equipped. Not that time, though.
There we go, and he is making sure that his party is up to absorb these calmnesses that are coming. So hopefully he only... Ooh.
Got the killing blow a little bit too early there in order to revive Yoshi. So it's going to be Goose, Gogo, and a couple of second string members here versus Final Kefka. Goose is probably the most important one to keep alive. Highest level wielding dual Illuminas is going to be the main beater here against Final Kefka.
Absolutely. And just having two characters here, it is absolutely doable. You're just going to need to navigate things a little bit carefully, take it a little slow. You know, don't get overexcited. And you can absolutely navigate your way through Kefka here.
Well, it's 4 characters, but honestly, 2 of them are just item bots at this point.
Two of them are...
Shadow and Cyan's job is to throw elixirs and X potions at humans.
And they probably will go down to the first go.
Yeah, chances are good. I don't think Classy gave them even the most rudimentary of equipment, as we saw Cyan punching earlier.
Yep. Fallen one. Ooh.
Oof. That Havoc Wing. And unfortunately, Gogo queued up the Mega Elixirs, so the game treats that item as gone. So, oof, no Mega Elixir recovery here. Classy's gonna have to rebuild now.
Yeah, I'm not sure the best way forward here. This might just be a wipe.
Well, it's not a wipe yet. something not working in Classy's favor here is that Goose is out of MP, so not getting those MP crit attacks and critical Pearl procs. Luckily, the evasion is gigantic, so parries that Havoc Wing like a champ, and looks like Classy's just going to try to swing away here and hope for the best. Ice 3 spell gets off, that's another miss against Goose's huge evasion. Pretty safe to swing away for a while here with that massive evasion. Some moves might get through, I don't think it's quite perfect, but Goose is going to need HP to survive Goner when that comes around.
I think he might be out of elixirs and X potions as well, so I'm not quite sure. Oh.
Go-Go smited the moment he stood up. Well, Goose does have an X Ether, so that will at least put the oomph back in those attacks. Following one, a complete waste of a turn for Kefka here. Goose already at 1 HP.
And he has to use the remedy to cure off that.
If he elects to do that, gonna try to Phoenix down Go-Go again here.
If he can get Go-Go up and use... Ooh, what a block. That was a clutch block of that Havoc Wing.
Yeah, you can already see the damage going up quite a bit there. And now we're getting to the dangerous time here. Going to cast a Life 2 on Shadow, the character who's got the most max HP. So with any luck, Shadow will be able to survive this upcoming Goner. Oh, we've got a limit break for Goose here. Actually not what you wanted to see, because the Illumina attacks would have done more damage. So this is not looking good. If Shadow is not well equipped for magic defense, this is going to be a wipe.
And I do believe that Classy has decided that he is not going to go for another try here on the final Kefka fight. He made a really good effort. GG to Classy. Really strong effort. Really good showing, but it does show that the final Kefka fight can absolutely still ruin your day if things go a little bit south.
Absolutely. Very unfortunate for Classy. But, I mean, honestly, and this isn't, me wishing bad fortune on anyone ever, but it was nice in a showcase like this to see basically the two opposite extremes of how that final battle can go. Just completely orthodox, effortless, efficient, mechanical for Boo, and a struggle for Classy on all four forms, unfortunately ending in defeat.
But that does bring us to the end of this Worlds Collide race. Once again, GG and shout out to both of our racers for giving us a fantastic showing tonight. And we'll hear real quick from Classy. Classy, GG, rough going at the end, but still really well played. I think Classy had a little bit of a Discord issue there. Maybe he'll come back.
I certainly hope so.
Classy, can you hear us now? I'm going to take that as a no.
Well, we are a little bit ahead of schedule right now, so while we give Classy a few minutes to hopefully sort out those Discord issues, do you have anything else for us right now, Paige?
Right now, you know what? Let me check our donation tracker. So we don't have any new donations right now, but hopefully some people in chat may feel like changing that, because we have some great incentives coming up. After our next set of runs is our rhythm game showcase, which is jam-packed full of some really exciting runs that we have going on. We're going to be starting off with a Group Coaster Wi-Fi Party showcase by Wolfman 2000. Then we're going to have Pump It Up XX 20th Anniversary Edition by Zello. And then Step Mania with Freya's Spirit, and Beat Mania with Dot Face. And these are all some extremely, extremely talented rhythm game players, and you do not want to miss this rhythm games block. And we also have some incentives going on for that block. So we have a co-op incentive going on for the Pump It Up showcase, which is really, really awesome. I really strongly recommend you get those donations in. And as a reminder, Speedrun Ragnarok 2020 benefits take this Take This is a mental health nonprofit, and their main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. It's okay to not be okay. That's something that they want you to know. If you would like more information, please visit takethis.org. All of our, not only donations, but also subs and bits will also all be benefiting takethis.org during Speedrun Ragnarok.
Awesome. Thank you again so much, Pidge. Classy, I believe, is now in the Discord and unmuted. So once again, Classy, GG, well played. Rough luck at the end there, but once again, thank you so much for giving us such a great show.
Definitely appreciate for being on. Yeah, there was a moment, if I had remembered to give in my Edgar, or Yoshi, I think his name was in the seed, his MP, he probably would have been doing a lot more damage. But I was kind of in panic mode because I never found Golem or Fenrir to help me get through Calmness. So as soon as I saw, like, I first saw not Edgar, Sabin or Goose go down, and I was like, okay, that's not good. And then Calmness hit Celeste, so then I knew I was really in trouble. And at that point, my mind just kind of went into panic mode, and I was not thinking straight about the final Kefka fight.
Yep, and it absolutely happens to the best of us. It's happened to me several times, in fact.
Yeah, the other thing I kind of missed, I wish I checked it earlier, is that, not Jajor, I always forget the name of that city, but they had the Illuminas, and I probably could have bought more Illuminas if I had not spent so much on Super Balls. Although the Super Balls did come in handy to face Goddess, because I was able to just get the Super Ball, and Magimaster as well, but the Super Ball Mimic Super Ball going. But I'll tell you what, having Celeste with Gem Box and Ultima just sitting there and knowing we couldn't use it, that is a hard feeling to cope with.
I will say there was one main strategy difference for the final Kefka fight between you and Boo. Boo actually found Strago, who had Possess. So Possess did end the final Kefka fight in one action.
Oh, see, I haven't had, like, in my random seasons with random unique abilities, I haven't had Possess come up enough to really be able to test and know what it can all possess and basically just end kill. But yeah, if I had known that, I would have just had Go-Go had Possess and just ended that right there.
Yep.
So that is good to know.
And I think that brings us to the end of this Worlds Collide randomizer. I do want to thank the RPG Valkyries for allowing us to showcase this randomizer in their marathon. Thank you all so much. We really do appreciate being included here.
Let's go, Bruins!
Thank you so much for being with us here today, Ravlin and Jackamus. That was awesome commentary. Well done to Classy Badger and Boo on that amazing race. That was really, really fun to watch. Like they were saying, go check out the Worlds Collide community if you liked what you saw today. It's a pretty fun randomizer. I played it myself a couple times. Stay tuned because we have the Rhythm Games block coming right up.